It's the Wake Up Call with your host, Grant Carey. News, weather, sports, guests, and your calls.
That's how we do it, 7:09 on the Wake Up Call. And 48 degrees. Bird. It's a little cold outside. Headed down near 30 overnight tonight. We're going to get around that freezing mark. Taking your calls at 305-0991 or 268-9898. You can also talk back on the website at newstalk991.com. Vote in our online poll, the talkback topic, dealing with the North Bypass here in Searcy that we're going to vote on December 13th, and whether you support or do not support that. You can also shoot us an email there. It's at newstalk991.com, and you can listen live as we stream live there. And we appreciate him holding on with us through the break there and being patient. Congressman Tim Griffin on the phone with us. Good morning.
Good morning. It is a little bit cold.
Yeah, a little chilly out there, huh? You're heading up to our neck of the woods today, right?
That's right. If you hear a little background noise, that is that's the interstate. We're on our way up to about 10 different stops today, but all in White County.
Wow. So where's some of the places you're going to be going today? Who are you going to be talking to?
Well, we're going to tour Electrocraft plant. We're going to tour a lab, a pathology lab in Searcy. We're going to go by the White County Medical Center. We're going to drop by a clinic. I'm going to speak at Rotary Club in Bald Knob. Then going to meet with some folks in BB, and maybe another stop or two on the way, and that'll take us almost through the whole day.
I wanted to ask you, since we're visiting with you this morning, we had talked about, it was in the news headlines, the I guess you could say summit that you held down in Little Rock on the topic of jobs and the economy.
Yeah.
How did that go, and what's some of the things you found out with that?
Well, it went really well. What we did was we had a jobs conference where we basically invited private sector job creators, both big and small, folks from companies as big as Entergy and Tyson all the way down to, men's clothing store and International House of Pancakes and stuff like that. And we basically said to job creators, as a continuation of our 20-something town halls that we've done, we said, okay, now we're just going to talk to you guys with businesses. What's holding you back? What's your obstacles to job creation? And, I obviously had my ideas, and we've been trying to have been passing bills out of the House over the last 9 months that deal with what we felt was the problem or is the problem, but we wanted to hear directly from these folks, and it was incredible. We had over 60 panelists, and they all agreed that the number one obstacle, the number one thing standing in the way of jobs being created is uncertainty. And people, when people are uncertain as to what the future is going to hold, and when they're uncertain, when businesses are uncertain, they hold on to that money. And instead of building that new part of the plant, instead of going on that vacation, instead of investing in that new house, people say, well, I'm not real certain in the future of our country. I'm a little bit apprehensive or scared, and they just hold on to that money. And a lot of the folks we talked to said overregulation creates huge uncertainty because businesses don't know what they're going to have to spend to comply, and the debt, whether we're going to deal with the debt or not, whether we're going to end up looking like some of what's going on in Europe, or whether we're going to do the right thing and get on a sustainable path. That creates uncertainty. Whether we're going to fix our tax code, which is not competitive with other countries, that deals with uncertainty. And so a lot of them were saying, if we could get some of this stuff done, it would cure some of the uncertainty. And so we're doing everything we can in the House to pass bills that deal with a lot of this stuff. Unfortunately, they're stacking up like cordwood over in the U.S. Senate, where they won't pass it. And,
right.
you know, I had a woman that I think she owns 10 International House of Pancakes around Central Arkansas, and she said, you know, this health care bill, it could potentially, the Obama health care law, it could potentially just kill our business. And we don't know whether it's going to be around, whether the courts are going to kill it, whether it's going to be repealed. She certainly backs repeal. I do too.
Right.
But there's just a ton of, it's sort of like people are waiting for the next shoe to drop, and they don't want to invest in that environment. But we've got to deal with some of these big problems, our tax structure, regulatory structure, so that we can give people the confidence to invest in, you know?
Right. Yeah, we were just looking at a poll yesterday that came out nationwide on why, and it goes right along with what your conference found here in Arkansas. It's the same thing nationwide, that they're just holding pat. They're scared. You know, they don't know what to expect. And I think that's the biggest thing, you know, according to that poll and according to what you found, it's the same thing. I know another issue that is big with you is Veterans Affairs and taking care of our veterans. We got Veterans Day coming up on Friday, and I was going to get your take on just yesterday we were reading where Leon Panetta was talking about cuts to the military and also cutting benefits to veterans. And I wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, let me mention one thing on the uncertainty. I just dropped a bill that would freeze all additional major regulations until the presidential campaigns are over and the election's over. So it would give some certainty to some people to know that no big regulations are coming down the pipe. On the veterans issue, look, I understand that we've got to tighten our belts on defense spending, but I have crunched the numbers 100 different ways, and I can tell you that the drivers of the debt are not veterans. Veterans have earned their benefit, and they should keep their benefits. If we can be more efficient in the way we run a lot of that stuff, then we should look to do that. There are certainly savings in the bureaucracy because a lot of these big government agencies have got to do a better job. But there are lots of places where we need to be trimming and cutting, but veterans have earned their benefits. And if I were to sit down with Secretary Panetta, I think it would be easy for me to show, and I know he knows this, that the big problem, yes, we need to look at defense, and I know he's been talking about defense, not just veterans, but defense is a tiny part of the real problem with the debt. Most of that is in the mandatory spending that is on the books, written into the law, and year to year just keeps expanding. That's what we've got to deal with. But look, I've said all along, if there are specific defense cuts where we find that things aren't working, we need to go in there and we need to fix that, because not every dollar at the Pentagon is spent wisely. In fact, there's a lot of it that isn't spent wisely. But veterans earn their benefits, and we ought to be really, really careful we start going in that direction.
Amen. I agree with you on that. And so you're heading up to Searcy today. Well, I should say White County, Searcy. We look forward to seeing you up here today, and real good talking to you this morning, Tim.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And y'all be watching, and we'll send you a press release. I've got some legislation dealing with veterans that we're going to drop this week. Actually, we've already introduced it, but we're going to announce it, I think, tomorrow. So we'll make sure you get that press release. And thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Tim. That's Congressman Tim Griffin. 19 minutes after 7 here on the Wake Up Call. We'll take your calls coming up 305-0991 or 268-9898. Good morning.